Simon, what we do know is it's in the newspapers this morning. We followed it up. How much credence can you give a takeover offer when it starts being touted about in the public domain?
Very little. You have to pay lip service to it. But when you start making bids for businesses, whether it's football clubs or any other business, you don't do it on the back of a fag packet. You don't do it verbally. You put a formal bid in and you make sure that people understand it has legitimacy attached to it. When you start talking things up, I understand the guy that wanted to buy Arsenal through Spotify, or the Spotify owner did the same thing. And there might be an element of that. That is the exception that disproves the rule. But in this instance, of course, it lights up the West Ham fan base because they know that anybody that wants to buy their football club is going to be preferable to David Sullivan and David Gold in certain people's minds. Irrespective of the success of last year, they will be in the same position that they've always been. If West Ham don't start well next year and West Ham start to flounder, it will be about Sullivan, it'll be about Gold, and it'll be about Karen. And whether that's right or wrong is a different discussion. But in this instance, you look at these things. We've heard this before. We heard this last year about various people that wanted to buy West Ham, that talk about the nature of buying it and taking it over from Sullivan and Gold. Then it becomes about how much Sullivan and Gold want to profit from it. I take these things really like this with a pinch of salt. I don't think that bids that are played out that are so flimsy and so unsubstantiable, i.e. a verbal bid, that suddenly find themselves instantaneously in the media is bluster and leverage and trying to create momentum rather than actually having a real solid dialed-in business plan that basically means you're on the money.
It might be bluster, Trevor. Some could read that into it, but it was a verbal offer and it was rejected.
Yeah, but I think I'm with Simon. It's got to be a formal business plan on offer, and there's got to be a plan in place because whatever you say about David Gold and David Sullivan at West Ham, they have took the club forward, especially in the last year. I think what Simon's saying is right regarding the fans' opinion, or the majority of the fans' opinion towards the owners. Even if they went out now and bought a striker, who looked like he was the real deal, possibly a centre-half, because obviously Mikel Antonio can't play up front on his own, another centre-half, and possibly even Pereira, because Jesse Lingard doesn't look like he's coming to the club. I think there'll be still fans opposed to David Gold and David Sullivan running the football club. That's just the way they are. They've been sold a dream. That's not been backed up by the owners in the initial 4 or 5 years, and I think that's why there is a lot of opposition against them. But I agree with Simon. You know, you've got to put in a formal bid. It's got to be a business plan. It's got to be a football business plan. And, you know, just putting a bid in saying there's £400 million without having any kind of plan in place, I think David Gold and David Sullivan would be doing the wrong thing regarding the sustainability of West Ham if they did sell the club.
If they did sell to these
just
people.
Off the back of a fag packet.
What I do know, Simon, is this morning it was confirmed to me that there are approaches, more than one, from potential investors. Individuals who want to get involved, who want to put money into the football club. Would that make sense to you when, again, the accurate figure at the moment is between the level of debt at West Ham at the moment is between 125 and 150 million?
Yeah, I mean, I would have put the level of debt because I looked at their debt last year and I know who's funding their debt. So I figured it was about 100 million quid, which in the great scheme of things for a football club in the Premier League that brings in revenues of £200 million a year isn't huge debt. You know, it's debt and fans won't like it, but it isn't huge debt in economic terms. Look, there's two arguments that you can advance, which is one is that football is in a dreadful state because of the finance for the £2.5 billion hole that will have been made in it as a result of the pandemic. The other is that football has an opportunity because the appetite for it hasn't been satiated by the pandemic. And if anything, the broadcast deals that have been cemented as a result of it, because the government have smoothed through the next Sky deal and the BT deal and the potential overseas deals that will come, will also give football a little bit of a lift. I think you'll see other different opportunities find themselves. But there is an element of investment that might be able to be put into football clubs because they'll consider now that there's a little bit of distress in place and the funding of football clubs isn't going to be easy. So you might find clubs like West Ham are more susceptible to investment and dilution from Gold and Sullivan because they don't want to put any money in to bridge the gap. They don't want to increase the amount of borrowings. They'd rather take investment, which means dilution, rather than have to borrow more money on the back of what might become more expensive money because football isn't quite as strong as it once was in terms of people's perception of it, even though the broadcast deals are quite good and maintain stability. So, listen, investment coming in will mean a dilution of Sullivan and Gold, which West Ham fans will be pleased about, because if somebody comes in and starts investing and David and David are prepared to take it, then it's normally those sort of people that come in that start to be more instrumental in owning the club. Now, the flip side of that is you've seen that happen at Arsenal.
Yeah.
And the argument will be, well, we saw that sort of stealth Trojan horse mentality, which is you take a certain position and all of a sudden that position gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and then you're left with silent Stan. Which most people at Arsenal don't want.
But certainly if there are potential investors involved in and around West Ham, that can only be good if you're a fan. And you're thinking, well, they're going to throw money at Gold, Sullivan and Brady.
Well, here comes the question. Does that investment go to buy David Sullivan and David Gold's shares, which means subsequently they keep that money because it's their shares that are being sold? Or does that money go into the running of the football club to enhance the opportunity? So when you say investment, if that investment is being deployed for the benefit of Sullivan and Gold's bank account because there's dilution in their shares...
It was confirmed to me it doesn't go to them, it goes to the club.
Well, then that can't be a bad thing, can it? I mean, and if you're saying it's been confirmed to you, then I would suggest that you're talking to people that can make that sort of observation.
Exactly.
Is it something that they're looking to do then?
Oh, I think they are looking to do it, Simon. And I think it will happen.
Jim White and Simon Jordan. Monday to Thursday morning, 10 till 1. On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.